It's your boy Amreezy, and I'm back with another Road to Sorare Boss episode where we follow my journey on Sorare. I've been playing for a few months now, maybe about 4 or 5 months, approaching the half year, approaching 6 months. I'm loving Sorare, having a great time. Before I get started in this week's episode, I do want to say thanks to all the comments in my previous videos, thanks to all of the advice I get, thanks to all the advice on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. I mainly am on these two places, YouTube and X. Thanks to anyone who's ever given me some tips, some help, some comments, just some people saying that they like the videos. It's all helped. I'm a new channel. Any likes and subscribes and comments are really helpful. And yeah, we're loving Sorare. We're having a good time. In football, I basically got two teams, Chelsea and Santos. They both won at the weekend. I feel like that hasn't happened maybe this season where they've both won. It's like Santos were losing for ages, sacked their manager, and all of a sudden they may be pushing for a playoff in the Mexican League place now. They looked doomed out. It was doomed. Then a new manager came in and he's got them playing. I've never seen Santos play like this. They've never been this defensive, they're playing like old school Burnley in the Premier League. Burnley under Sean Dyche, that's how Santos are playing now. To sort of put it into context, not the last game, but the week before, Santos won, and in the 30th minute, Doria, big man at the back, centre back, got booked for time wasting on 31 minutes. So that kind of sums up how Santos are, but I'm loving it because Santos are winning again. They won 3 games in a row now, and as someone who has a lot of Santos cards, I kind of just have to hope it keeps going, keeps continuing, and this week in particular, I'm going to be throwing all my Santos cards out there, and it's really fun. I mean, with the Sorare roadmap changing in August, I understand there's a lot of concern from like more experienced managers with bigger galleries playing with rare cards. And I think I may have had more of a problem with it at the game, but because I'm a beginner, because I'm kind of just getting started anyway, it's really fun for me just playing with Santos cards, just buying Santos cards and playing with them and having a collection and feeling like I'm part of it. It makes the Santos games way more exciting for me. So I'm loving it, having a good time with Sorare. Let's start off the video by looking at how I did last weekend in game week 457. So before I have a look at how I did last weekend, we are in a kind of game week right now that's live at the moment until that deadline for this weekend. And I didn't have much this midweek. I didn't play many teams. I put out a few teams, mainly just for XP. The only team that kind of came close that I didn't expect to at all was my 220 team for midweek. Ben Chilwell didn't have a game, so I put him in just because he's one of the cards I've just bought. So I just wanted to build up his XP. And then I put the Arsenal goalkeeper, my boy in Japan, Watanabe, Cade Cowell, the Chivas youngster who I signed a few weeks ago. Very excited about him. I kind of got him for my under-23 league, but also he fits in with my Mexican league cards. So we're excited about Cade Cowell. He seems to be like very exciting. I love watching Chivas now. The last Chivas game I watched was at the weekend when Chicharito, remember him? Chicharito was leading the line for Chivas. Very exciting to see him. Every time he got the ball, crowd all got excited. But on the left of him is Cade Cowell, this young striker from the US. He looks exciting. And then unfortunately, Garza didn't play. Jesus Garza didn't play for Tigres. And if he had, I would have probably got a reward from my 220 this midweek when I kind of just threw this together because they were the only players I had playing. So unfortunately, he didn't play. It seems to be for this sort of competition, Tigres aren't really putting out their strongest squad, and then they're putting out a different squad for the league. So I know Tigres are in this, and Monterrey and America are all in this competition where they're playing with other teams from the US. And he's been rested for both of those games against Orlando now, but he's been playing in the league games alongside that. So I thought there was an off chance he might play, but he didn't. So no reward from me. So nothing from the midweek. From the weekend before, basically, I've been playing under 23 league. I'm taking very seriously now. That's kind of what I like the most at the moment. So I've been going for that and the 270. And the 270 really didn't deliver this midweek. I basically got returns where I didn't really expect it. So I didn't win any rewards, but I came closest in the under 23 league, which was good. It was just my captain who let me down. and Cade Cowell. So like I said earlier, Cade Cowell did good at this current midweek, but he didn't do so good at the weekend. He's young, he's very consistent, he's fun to watch because he's kind of all action. He chases everything. He's got a lot of energy. He hustles, he bustles. He likes to get shots in where he can, when maybe he should pass sometimes. You can kind of see that he's got that to learn. And I think once he learns that, he'll get more assists and his shooting will get better. But he's a bit hit and miss at the moment. So that cost me in my under-23 league. Also, Alan Minder. He's been on a good run. I captained him because he had a good game. And he got a 57, which wasn't great. It's an okay score, but not great. But everyone else in the team... Goalkeeper, 74. Soleil, defender, 74. Enzo Fernandez making his debut for me, 71. So I'm excited about my under-23 league. I think I need a striker. I need a striker for my under-23 league because they're all hit and miss at the moment. However, I'm looking at kind of strikers within a reasonable budget, and they all kind of seem like they're hit and miss. So it does seem that I don't think I'm ever going to be playing the under-23 league with two strikers. I think I'm always going to be going for either a midfielder or a defender as that second spot. So I did well in the under-23 league, but didn't quite get a reward. I think if I had a better striker, I would have been able to get something, but unfortunately we didn't. I did tweet on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. I did tweet that this weekend I had a lot of good players, players like the goalkeeper, Enzo Fernandez Soleil, and a few players across my lineups, all really good picks, but just scattered across fields of garbage. That's how I described it there. So you can see why. I mean, 220, nothing. Goalkeeper did well, no one else did. 240, I got some good numbers here from, I was very close to reward because 240 I just threw together because it was a DMP goalkeeper and I put 4 players who were kind of a bit of a gamble, and then I thought, let's see if we can hit the 270 threshold. We were like 8 points off, almost hit it. If these two had a slightly better game, we would have hit it. So I think that could be a good tactic for me, just because the 240 is a bit of a throwaway at the moment. Maybe I put my DMP goalkeeper there and 4 gambles, and sometimes they might hit a $2 threshold. And 270, my Daniel Munoz, captain, did great. Everyone else did bad. I didn't expect that. I did think the 270 would do well. Paulinho came back to the Fulham team from a 2-match suspension and was on the bench. I don't know what's happened there, because before his suspension, Paulinho was the guy in the Fulham midfield. Big scores, and now he's on the bench. So now, annoyingly, one of my strongest cards in the Premier League, Paulinho, now I'm kind of unsure about him. So he didn't start last weekend. I've seen a few Premier League prediction sites, and he's not rumoured to start this weekend as well. So I no longer can play him because he's not that guarantee that he was. Awoniyi at Nottingham Forest, that's 2 weeks in a row he's had a bad score. I just hope it's a little lull, because before that he had about 3 weeks with good scores. So they've got Luton at the weekend, hoping Nottingham Forest get back to winning ways. Awoniyi gets back to winning ways. I've got to stick by him because it seems all my strikers are just flopping. And he was one that was doing well, one of the rare strikers that was actually maintaining consistency. So I've got to stick with him. And then Rashika Besiktas, again, a good fixture. Don't know what he did, 34. Nonsense. So nothing from the 270. The champion America, didn't expect anything from my goalkeeper, Acevedo for Santos. 109 points because he saved the penalty and kept a clean sheet. That's 3 clean sheets in a row for Santos now. I'm telling you, go get your Santos stacks. Get the goalkeeper. Get some defenders. Santos defense are, I'm hoping, a banker now. Nathan Silva didn't play, which was a shock. He had a good fixture, but was rested. So very annoying because I captained him. Brian still keeps giving me the good scores. Romero Sordo is the Santos youngster who they've just signed. Still not hitting up. He shows glimpses every game. He has glimpses that he's going to click, but he's just not there yet. So I'm still waiting to see who's going to fill that Preciado hole in the Santos striking position. So Santos are playing very negative football at the moment, but they're scraping wins. They kind of need to work out who's going to be their striker. They are playing an attacking midfielder, Jordan Carrillo, up front. And they're usually pairing him with either Santiago Munoz, who's a young striker, or Jesus. I can't remember his name. I don't want to butcher his pronunciation, but they've got bad strikers at Santos, and I'm still working out who's going to be the guy because Preciado is suspended for a while, so there's going to be someone who takes that spot, and they do create a few chances. So I am looking for that because I want to get those Santos stack working. So let's see. And then Alan Montez, another good defender in Mexico, maybe one of the best defenders in Mexico. Alan Montez didn't play, so Champion America was ruined. Premier League Specialist, I did okay. Unexpected scores. Destiny Udogi gave me a good score. Maybe, I was going to say I should have put him in my under-23 squad, but Soleil did better and Enzo Fernandez did better, so he couldn't have gone in there. And then the rest didn't do so great. The goalkeeper I picked, Pickford, did okay, so nothing to be excited about. And then an academy team. So those are the... that's how I did last weekend. Since my last video, I've picked up a few cards, not in collections. I've picked up a few cards. What I've been trying to do is pick up a few Santos cards from the current collection. So as you can see, I think the last card that I showed you I had bought was Enzo Fernandez last week. So since then, I have traded a card, Servi, that I hated, didn't use, for this guy, George Meri. They're basically the same. He was worth slightly more, and I think the guy that wanted my Servi card needed him more. So I did the trade because he was worth slightly more. So I was mainly helping that guy out. And then the other cards I picked up are Jordan Carrillo. I told you, Santos are trying to work out who their striking partnership is going to be. I think he's going to be the consistent one. It's going to be him and someone else. So I bought a Jordan Carrillo for £1.50. I think it was actually £1.40 when I bought him, but the ETH's value's gone up, so it's showing as £1.50. I brought Bruno Amioni, Santos defender, 90 odd P I paid for him. I bought Josh Cullen for 60p. He's the Burnley captain. Now, you're probably thinking, what are you doing there? What do you think, Burnley captain? What are you playing now? I've got a little feeling, hunch, let's call it hunch, that Burnley did quite well at the weekend, and I've watched them a few times, and I'm kind of thinking, I'm preparing for next season, so I'm going, okay, Sheffield United and Burnley are probably going to get relegated, and maybe Luton, or we don't know, but those two are probably going to get relegated. They'll do well in the Championship again. So I looked at their scores from when they were in the Championship for who are players that I could kind of get for cheap now who might be really well in the Championship next season. Because I do want to play across all the divisions in Classic, so I wanted some players in the Championship. And I watched Burnley, not last week, but the weekend before, and I'd made a note of Josh Cullen. I was like, I like this guy. I like how he plays. He plays like my favourite kind of players who are creative, Pirlo, Enzo Fernandez type midfielders who hold the midfield together and spray passes around. And he was that. He looked really good. I looked up, he's the Burnley captain, plays for the Republic of Ireland national team, and looks really creative. I think he should get a move. He used to play for Anderlecht, so he's not like, an old school traditional Burnley midfielder like you think of. He's got something about him. He can pass, he's quite creative. He fits the tactic Burnley are trying to play at the moment, even though they're not really playing it well. But I do think he could get a move to a better team or be a really good player for Burnley next season when it's a bit easier for them in the Championship. So I picked up him, but also I was quite encouraged by Burnley's 2-2 draw, I think against Forest. Can't remember who it was. They drew West Ham, possibly. West Ham. So Burnley are showing a bit of life, and there's 10 games to go. They're going to be fighting every game now. I just think putting the captain in a few of my lineups, maybe a Premier League specialist, maybe a couple of Cap 240 leagues. Look at his scores. They are on the way up. He was out of the team for a while with an injury, came back, and his scores have been picking up a little bit. So I like the look of Josh Cullen. Maybe international breaks. He's a nice pick for the Ireland team as well. So I'm going with him. I got Ben Chilwell because £1.25. I know he's injured, which is why he was going for cheap. However, when he's back from his injury, I'm happy to have Ben Chilwell. Also, I am thinking a bit more about my collection bonuses. Next season, I do think there'll be an advantage of having Chelsea cards and Santos cards. I'm going to be playing Santos and Chelsea cards. Obviously, they're my teams. So I want to kind of build out my collection around this season of Chelsea, which was last season. I want to get a few more of the cards to build up my percentage on those cards. So there's a lot of cards there of Chelsea players who are at other teams now, like Havertz, Mount, Jorginho, who could be good for me as playing them for those other teams and getting the bonuses as well. But also there's a few Chelsea youngsters in there that are kind of in the team. So I got a Chilwell. I got these 3 Santos players for 30p each, just to help me with my Santos bonus collection. And then I bought this one kid Piero Quispe, who I saw play for Pumas a few weeks ago. I've been scouting him ever since then, making a note to look for a good price. I got him for about £2.40. He looks good. So those are the new cards that I've got. I am going to slow down my buying now. My bank balance here, you can see it's dropped now. I've almost spent what I recently put in. I'm going to take a breather on the spending. I'm not going to spend as much at the moment unless I sell cards. I think I'm quite happy now with my collection to kind of see out the end of the season in Europe anyway. And kind of gamble that Santos are going to be a good team for Challenge America. So they're the cards I bought. That's how I did last weekend. Let's take a look at my lineups for this weekend coming. Right then, here we go. These are my teams for the weekend coming up. Game week 4, 5, 9. Priorities, under 23s straight away. So we're going with the goalkeeper, big or bad. We're going for Soleil, who just is giving me good score after good score. Alan Minder, I'm giving him the captaincy again. I can't remember exactly who he's playing, but RWD. It's a good fixture for them. I think I looked at the league table. I looked at the form. They concede a lot of goals. They're maybe second or third to bottom in the table. He should have a good game. I did say this last week, but hoping he has a good game this week. I'm going for Cade Cowell up front again. Now, he does have a tricky fixture with America. However, and this is a tactic that this is going to affect another player I've picked in another one of my leagues for Atlas. Even though they're playing America and Monterrey and Tigres are all playing in these other competitions at the moment and then coming back to the league 2 days later, 3 days later and having to play a game. And I think they could be a little bit tired. I think the teams at the top of the Mexican League, they don't take it as seriously at this stage of the season when they have CONCACAF competitions that they're also focusing on. If they're doing well in the league, they're going to get a playoff position. And I think they take their foot off the gas in the league a little bit. That's just something I've kind of spotted. Often they're good teams anyway, and they rotate their squads and they have enough quality to beat weaker teams. However, Chivas are putting up a bit of a fight. The form's picking up again. Cade Cowell is hit or miss. This team will either do really well. Alan Minder and Cade Cowell are both kind of hit and miss at the moment. It needs one of them to hit. Ideally both. Let's see what happens. And Destiny Udogi, Fulham away, Spurs very attacking. He's possibly good for an attacking return in every game. So that's going to be my under 23 lineup. The other league I'm focusing on is Cap 270, where I think I've got a good chance this week. Bilal in goal. He's got an okay fixture, although we never know with Bilal. It's hit and miss, rolling a dice. Pablo Murray's got Cagliari, who are not a great team. Monza like a clean sheet. Hopefully he can give me that clean sheet. And Beste is back from injury. He was a 50-50 at the last weekend. So I put him in my punty lineup, my 240. Will he play? He did play, got decisive. So he's back this week. Playing a team not doing too great. Mönchengladbach, captaining him. Awaniwi. We need Awaniwi to give us a good return. He's had 2 bad weeks in a row. We need to see something from Awaniwi now. And then Brian, the most Mexican name ever. Brian, he's playing Cruz Azul. Now, Cruz Azul just lost to Santos, so confidence is going to be low. When you lose 3-0 to Santos, your confidence is not low. They got a red card, so they're going to have a suspension. Hoping that Big Brian comes through and keeps up his good form. He's been doing really well for me. So, again, if they all do well, if they all deliver, which they're all capable of, they should do well. And I like that they're all wearing red. I like the color coordination in my 270 team. Speaking of color coordination, Champion America. I think for the first time I'm putting out a Santos stack of 5 Santos players that all could realistically do something. I may have put out a Santos stack in a league where they didn't have a game or something, but this week it's not unheard of. It's not that far-fetched to think the Santos boys could do me well this week. They're playing Tijuana, who are below them in the league. It is an away game. However, 3 wins in a row, 3 clean sheets in a row. I've got to go for it. So I brought in this defender, Raul Lopez, for 30p. Look at these bargains. Because he's helping with the collection bonus. But also Govea, who was the Santos right back, who I had. He's injured for about 6 weeks now. So Raul Lopez, experienced right back. He's likely to be playing now. So I'm bringing him in. He did really well against Cruz Azul. Got like a 70-something score. Acevedo in goal. Medina looked really good in the last game. So lively. I think he put 1 or 2, got a goal, assist. Creating a lot of chances on that right wing. Medina looks really good. Carrillo, the guy I told you about who I just bought as well. Striker, but midfielder, attacking midfielder. False number 9, let's say. He's captain. Because if I'm going to get anything from this team, he's going to need to deliver. These three, the defense, I'm kind of hoping for a clean sheet. Medina, he's creative, could get an assist. Carrillo, he's hit and miss. He's young, hit and miss. And then Munoz came off the bench in the last game, so I don't know fully if he's going to play. However, my other striking options in the Mexican League weren't that appealing. So Munoz is going to get the game. He scored off the bench last week. His first goal for ages. First goal, I think they said, for like 2 years. Because he went on loan to Newcastle, didn't play, came back to Mexico, hasn't done anything this season, scored his first goal last game. I'm hoping that he gets given the start this weekend because he might have a bit of confidence, or comes off the bench again and does well. So I like this. I like a Santos stack. First time I'm doing that in Champion America. Let's see how that goes. We need Santos to just smash it again, and maybe we'll get lucky. And then we've got the 240, which again, like I said earlier, I'm doing the same tactic of DMP goalkeeper and then 4 punts. So Castro, Montes, Union, SG. Never know what's going to happen. My youngster who's playing for Pumas. Pumas have a tricky fixture against Toluca away, so I wasn't fully confident with him. Mesa Bar hasn't been doing great recently. They're playing, I think, a team. It's a 6-pointer. They're playing the team 1 place below them in the league, so let's see what he does. He'll be captain. And Alan Montes, he got rested last game, hoping that he's fresh, but again, it's a tricky fixture against Cruz Azul, so let's see. Cruz Azul at home as well. I don't like the idea of them keeping a clean sheet there. So let's see. And then cap 220. I brought in a French goalkeeper from the Commons because he's playing a relegation threatened team. Toffolo has been playing for Nottingham Forest since the previous left back got injured. I can't remember who, but Toffolo's back in the first team, and they're playing Luton, so he's in the team. Josh Cullen straight in the team. So the reason I bought him is because I'm kind of hoping Burnley put a bit of a push to get to stay in the Premier League. And even if they get relegated, that's another thing. I'm also looking at Burnley players because sometimes teams get relegated and then for the last 4 or 5 games, they just play really well because there's no pressure. So I'm kind of hoping that happens. Their fixtures are okay. They're playing Brentford at home. Brentford are a little bit hit and miss at the moment. So I'm hoping Josh Cullen does well. Aguirre, captain. They're playing Monterrey. Tricky fixture. However, Monterrey also just playing in this CONCACAF competition. 3 days later, they've got to play Atlas. So I'm hoping that they rest players or they're just tired and Aguirre takes advantage of that. And then Jesus Garza didn't play in the CONCACAF against Orlando. So hopefully he'll be fresh and get a game against Mazatlan. I think those are the lineups. There's an academy team in there. There's a Premier League special. No, there's no Premier League specialist team this week because there's not enough Premier League games because of FA Cup fixtures. So they're my teams. That's how we're looking for this coming game week 4, 5, 9. Let us know in the comments if you've got any advice, any thoughts, or if you're just enjoying the videos. Let me know. I really appreciate it. Follow me on X. Give the video a like and a subscribe. Good luck with your weekends. I'll see you next week. Peace.